This video is supporting material for the tutorial entitled Import Map and Merge in Instant JChem. In this installment we aim to show the map functionality available during the file import dialog. To commence, we assume you have an empty Derby schema to use as a work area, though the operations shown are identical in IJC for Oracle or MySQL connections. In our Derby schema, first we need to create a new data tree with a JChem structure table as the root node, and there are two ways we can achieve this. We can right-click and select New Data Tree and Structure Table. Alternatively, we might first create an entity and then select right-click New Data Tree from Entity. Both operations are found within the Data Tree tab. In this example, we will choose the first option and name our data tree and entity to be Commercial Molecules. Notice we have deliberately left the duplicates tick box off, and so we will allow duplicate structures in this entity. Select Finish and our new data tree and entity are created. Next we would like to edit the entity in our schema, and if the schema editor is not already open, then select the schema node, right click and choose Edit Schema. Then we can select the Entities tab and we can right click on the entity of choice, Commercial Molecules, and add new fields. First we will add a new standard field of type text field and named Supplier. And then we can browse our entity and see that our new field has been added. Next we will add another new standard field, type text field, named Library. And again we can see this is added to our Commercial Molecules entity. Later we will set the defaults for these fields on import to be short searchable 3-letter acronym strings to name our suppliers and libraries. First we will import the Asonex Gold file by right click on the entity and select Import File into Commercial Molecules. We can then select our SDF file of choice, Asonex Gold Collection, and we can use the Read More button to determine any fields found later in the file. Once satisfied, we can click Next, and in this next dialog, the list to the left shows the potential fields from the source file. The right-hand list shows the current and potential structure of the target entity Commercial Molecules. The structure from the file is automatically mapped to the structure field of the entity. The auto-populated fields, indicated by a green arrow, are visible and cannot be mapped to. If you select one, no options are available. The previously added additional fields are visible but with no mapping. At this stage we can specify a default value for these fields of ASCII for the supplier and the library name Gold. Further to this, IJC has suggested 3 new fields to add, indicated by the plus sign. If you select any of these potential fields, you can choose to remove the field or move the field up and down in the order of fields or rename the field. In this case we will rename the field weight to be supplier weight in order to indicate the source. Select Next and the import will commence. We will return in a few moments when the import is completed. Next we can go to the data tree in the Project Explorer and open up the default grid view for Commercial Molecules. And we can see the molecules for the recent import that we've just completed with the searchable supplier and library terms. Next we will want to import the Asonex Platinum file, and so we go back to the schema editor, right click on our entity and select Import File into Commercial Molecules. We then select our file, the Asonex Platinum Collection, and select Next. Again we can specify default values for our supplier field, and the library this time is Platinum. We can also see that IJC has suggested adding a new field called weight. Previously we made this source data item into the field supplier weight. We do not want to add a new field weight, but we wish to map the weight to the supplier weight. In order to achieve this, select the weight and remove it, and you'll notice that on the left list weight has become ungrayed. Now then, you select weight on the left hand side and supplier weight on the right hand side, and the map button is activated. Select the map button and you'll notice that weight is now mapped to supplier weight. This is similar for the ID number and the salt data, which are being automatically mapped via their names, as well as of course the structure field. Select Next and the import will commence. We will return once it's completed. Once completed, we can review the summary of our import and then select Finish. We now return to the default grid view for our data tree. We can select the query mode and search our library based on the data items gold, or the acronym GOL, or indeed the platinum, the acronym PLAT. And in each case we see the two libraries are searchable. We will add a final file to our commercial build. Do this of course by right clicking on our entity, selecting import file into commercial molecules, and then selecting the file of interest, the Maybridge screening collection, and then select Next. Of course, first we will add some defaults. In this case we will use the acronym MAY, and you need to choose something suitable. We will use SCR, and there are some additional fields that have been proposed as added by IJC. In this case we will remove them, and we'd like to map the code to the ID number by selecting the map button, and we'd like to select and map the parent molecular weight to the supply weight. Again, we select the map button, and once we've finished we select Next and our import is underway. We will return of course in a few moments when it's completed. Once complete, we can review the summary of the import and select Finish. And if we return to the default grid view, we can go to the query and specify a supplier. In this case we can specify May for Maybridge, run our query, and we are returned the files or the molecules for the Maybridge file. Of course, you can continue to use the import and mapping process to build a much larger and normalized data-rich commercial supplier set using many other supplier SDF files and libraries. You can also use new cartridge-based views in order to create a unique searchable set of molecules based on this data source, commercial molecules. Please see the associated tip in the tutorial for this. We leave you to enjoy building this to completion in your organization using Instant JChem.